There it is. Phantom
ship.
The Phantom ship. It's cute.
Yo.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Today I am going to Crater Lake, which is a 3-hour drive away. I'm pretty excited, to be honest. Not that I wasn't looking forward to it, but I was dragging my feet a little bit because, let me tell you, living at home with your parents, even if it's on vacation, which like kind of this is, living at home with your parents is like still living at home with your parents. At first I was banished from my bedroom to the in-law suite downstairs with Jake, but now I've been banished 3 hours away. Literally, my parents were like, leave. They were like, go to Crater Lake.
Well, first of all, banished is a lot. That's pretty dramatic. And second of all, they just want us to actually be useful with our time. I've never been to Crater Lake. I'm excited to go to Crater Lake, a national park.
It's true, and I'm excited too. It's like said in jest. I'm not actually like upset. I am sensitive, but
very sensitive.
I'm a water sign. This is what I'm bringing with me. Sunscreen, because it's sunny. Water bottle, because we want to avoid dehydration. Camera, I have like 8 exposures left on it, so I'm gonna try to use all of those up today. And oh yeah, my watch strap broke yesterday, which is so sad, so I'm literally holding it in place with a rubber band. I will see you at the lake. Crater Lake was formed 7,700 years ago when Mount Mazama imploded during a volcanic eruption. Around 400 years later, a newer volcano erupted out of the lake that formed in the shell of the former volcano, and that peak is now called Wizard Island. Since there are no inlets carrying silt, sediment, or pollution into the lake, all of its water comes from rain and snow falling directly onto its surface or runoff from the slopes along the rim of the caldera. At 1,943 feet, or 592 meters deep, it is the deepest lake in the USA and the 9th deepest lake in the world. We're back in the car driving to the next hike. It's like, I guess I didn't realize this when we first got here. The park is large. We're not talking about like...
it's not Central Park.
It's not Central Park. This is like a large national park with many, many hikes. When we first got here, we sort of just like stopped at the main like village part where there's an overlook and like a short hike, and didn't really take a look at a map or anything. We were like, I'm hungry, let's eat. But now that we've like sat down and like gotten our bearings, we saw another hike. Okay, yeah, so we want to follow this one because we want to go to the East Rim. Okay.
So we are now here.
This is where we would find this trail, Castle Crest.
We're at park headquarters now. This is the start of the trail.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we should...
Look how tall these freaking trees are. We've spent basically the entire day here. It is now 5:45 and we got here, well, okay, so we got here at like 1, so we spent the better part of the day here. Being like out in the woods today has been really refreshing refreshing, honestly. I knew that I would like it, and I knew that I would feel good as soon as I got out here, but it was sort of just like...
It's because you didn't like the idea of driving for 3 hours to get here.
I grew up going to national parks. We went to so many, because I lived in Utah until I was 9, so they were all like right there. Basically, like every summer, we would hit at least one national park. And there are so many in that region, so I like them. And I look forward to going to more. Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm at the Tomahawk Waterfront Park right now, which is right next to the Willamette River. This is the part of town I grew up in, southwest Portland. Actually, honestly, like a suburb outside of southwest Portland, but this part of downtown is called Southwest Portland. Since I'm here, I'm gonna take you along and show you some things that you can do if you are ever in Portland. Adjacent to the park is the Saturday Market, which is an artisan market featuring local artists. It's been here as long as I can remember, and it's fun to just like walk around and see what kind of stuff that people are making. The food carts are pretty good too. If you feel like sitting down to eat, Jake and I went to the Zeus Cafe at the Crystal Hotel. It's part of a local chain called McMenamin's, which has kind of a lot of restaurant and bar locations all over the Portland metropolitan area. Jake had a chicken burger, and I had their Cafe Caesar.
That was the ugliest bite I've ever taken in my life.
Next on my list is Powell's Books, the world's largest independent bookstore. I try to make a stop here every time I'm in the city because they have so many books. This is Artists Rep, which is the place I did my first show in Portland. There was a sign on the door that said I had moved, but the font was too small for me to see the address of the new location. The next place I like to recommend is Pioneer Courthouse Square, which I feel like might be the commercial center of downtown. It's the city block in front of Pioneer Courthouse, which is the oldest federal building in the Pacific Northwest, and it has a nice little outdoor performance space. From there, Jake and I took the Portland streetcar to Northwest 23rd Avenue, which is a shopping street with a ton of boutiques. We went down a side street to find the St. Clair House, which we saw online had a business where we could get a massage and pedicure, but sadly, nobody was there.
I think it's an apartment.
It is a pretty building though. To recover from walking all over downtown, we went to get boba at Tea Chai Tay, which is between Johnson and Irving on 23rd. Both of us got the guava green tea with lychee jelly, or do most people say lychee? Anyway, it was really good. We are back home and in the lavender field because, you guessed it, next week's video is going to be all about the lavender harvest. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and comment down below where you are from and whether there's a national park in your area. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you later. Bye.